Hello, doms, subs, freaky people, and kinky people. It's your favorite, Mistress Marley, aka the baddest bitch in the land, the baddest bitch on the universe, the baddest bitch on the planet, just the baddest bitch in the place. I am back with season 2 of Domme in the City, and I know y'all have been waiting. I have been seeing the comments on my YouTube, my Instagram, my Twitter, my damn email. Mistress Marley, when are you coming back? Mistress Marley, I want to see you relax your feet on a sub again on the podcast. Mistress Marley, we missed the podcast. All right. Calm down, relax. Because I'm back. And this time, y'all, it is personal. All right. Let's back up. So when I say it's personal, I mean for season 2, we are getting deep down inside of who Mistress Marley is. Now, in season 1, y'all saw a lot of me interviewing different subs, different doms, different people in the community overall. I really wanted y'all to see what the community looks like, what we sound like, and the experiences we go through, because my whole reason for starting Domme in the City was because I felt like I was on a lot of different podcasts. So from the beginning of my journey, beginning of my dominatrix career, beginning of me going viral, I was invited to a lot of different podcasts. I've been on Angela Yee. I've been on Horrible Decisions. I've been on Good Moms, Bad Choices. I've been on Who Hurt You, Bro. I mean, I've been on a lot of different podcasts. And it got to the point where I felt like, okay, there needs to be a podcast for Black doms like me, doms in general, but y'all know I'm here for the Black girls. Black doms like me to see someone that looks like them talking about their experiences as a dominatrix living in New York City. And no shade, no tea. But I felt like a lot of the podcasts that either reached out or like just a lot of podcasts in general, sex workers on those podcasts are kind of used as like the attraction, right? Like, okay, we're going to use this sex worker with this soundbite because we know it's going to bring viewers in no matter how crazy it sounds, right? But I felt like a lot of the conversations I was having was just around like, okay, what's the craziest thing I can say up here that's happened to me? Or what's a crazy experience I can highlight just so I can give them a soundbite, which is all in well. Y'all know I'm the marketing queen. I know all about marketing. I know how it is and how you have to get your brand to pop off and things of that nature. But I was like, no, they really need to hear the stories of sex workers. And we're more than just sound bites. We're more than just the punchlines for the podcast, right? We're more than just the entertainment. There's so many other different levels to us. So that is what season 2 is going to be all about. Now, this is not to say that I'm not going to have special guests, but you know, we're going to bring the focus back to your girl, back to Mistress Marley. In true Aquarius fashion, we bringing it back on to me, y'all. So just like I've done with every other episode, we are going to start off with the kinky word of the day. So I'm going to give y'all the kinky word of the day before we get really, just into it and into the thick of everything, So the kinky word of the day is ball busting. Give it up for ball busting. Woo! I love ball busting. For those that follow me on my clip sites or just on Twitter in general, because y'all know I do not post the crazy shit on Instagram because Instagram hates me. Y'all know I love to do ball busting, right? So I do a lot of ball busting content with certain submissives. I have subs that just absolutely love it from me. So ball busting is literally what it sounds like. It's when me as the dom kicks the sub so hard in the balls that it might bust them. They might bleed. And if that's a little bit too graphic for y'all can go to another podcast. Because one thing about me is I'm going to keep it real on the podcast, y'all. So I absolutely love ball busting. And the crazy thing is, when I first did ball busting, I was scared. I was like, what if I just damage this sub's balls forever? Or like, what if they end up going to the hospital or whatever? And then to be kicking their balls and looking down on their face and seeing them actually enjoying it, like receiving pleasure from it, was like, wow, I should have been doing this. So ball busting brings out a whole nother level of sadism to me. If you are a first time listener, you are getting a good little first episode. I know you're probably like, what the fuck am I listening to right now? You in the right place, baby. Best believe. And if you are a sub listening to this and you love to be ball busted or, just love having those little balls stepped on and crushed, hit up your girl, but hit me up the right way. All right, y'all. So that was our kinky word of the day, ball busting. All right, y'all. So let's get into it. What has your girl been up to since the last episode? Well, the last episode was right before my birthday in January. My birthday was amazing, by the way. I went to Hawaii with my best friend. Shout out to my best friend. I'm going to dig deeper into them too as well. You know, I need to bring my best friends on the podcast because that would be amazing. They would love it. Y'all would love them. They crack me up. But anyway, so the last time I did an episode was in January. And after my birthday, I turned 31. After my birthday, life pretty much just got crazy, y'all. It got crazy in ways that I was not expecting. Like, my life can be crazy in general, right? But a lot of stuff I'm expecting. Like, I do crazy stuff. I go on crazy adventures. I meet crazy people that I love, that I enjoy, that I collaborate with. Like, I just do crazy things in life and I enjoy it. But this was a different type of crazy. So this is just a moment of vulnerability because I'm really not that vulnerable and I'm not that good at being that vulnerable. I feel like as an Aquarius, you know, we kind of detach from emotions, or so they say. I'm also a Cancer moon, so I feel the emotions very, very deeply. But in April of this year, April 1st to be exact, which is crazy, April Fool's Day, I lost my dad. And it was very unexpected. He had gotten sick. And we just thought it was a regular sickness. He wasn't feeling well. We just thought maybe it was a cold or, you know, something of that nature or whatever. And he went to the hospital. And my dad's been in the hospital before for like routines, procedures, little sicknesses, but he's been in and out, you know, whatever. And it just went downhill from him being in the hospital. And not to give away too much, but my dad has had a lung disease since he was little, since he was a little boy. It's called sarcoidosis. And he's always had to manage pretty much his breathing his whole life. And, you know, that's just something I've dealt with just seeing him, like, struggle to breathe growing up. But he always had on this face of like, you're never going to know what I'm going through, or I'm never going to let it defeat me or whatever. Amazing father. My dad was in my life for my full 31 years of my life. Him and my mother were still married when he passed away. And crazy thing is, I got the call from my mother as I was moving into my new place, right? So now I am living on Coney Island. Y'all, please don't ask why I moved all the way out here. A part of me just wanted to get the hell away from the craziness of the city. We're going to get into that in future episodes. But I got the call when I was moving in, and it just made me freeze. Because the thing is, I've had family members pass away, like my great-grandmother, my great-aunt, and my uncles and stuff, but I was young when they passed away. So it's not really something I remember much of, but to get that call, it's like my whole world just froze. And I don't think I've ever felt grief as thick as I felt when my father passed away. And it was to the point where it was just like, everything just stopped. Right? Like, it was to the point where I didn't know what was happening. I just knew I needed to get on the plane and go to North Carolina because my whole family's still in North Carolina. I'm the only one up here, up north. So, you know, I got there and a part of me was still just like, okay, I know this is going to turn around, right? So for those of you that follow me, y'all know I'm a law of attraction manifestation girly. I feel like you can manifest anything in your life, no matter the circumstance. Circumstances do not matter. You can turn things around. But what really crushed me was that, and it was a personal thing for me, but really crushed me was that I couldn't manifest him out of it. And that was really deep for me. And it was just sad to see my mother and all of my siblings and things of that nature and just how I had to deal with it. Like, the way I dealt with it was how I deal with a lot of things in my life. I go into business mode. So when my father passed unexpectedly, I was already on top of everything. I was already setting aside money to pay for his arrangements, to get a memorial together, to invite people to the memorial, all those different things I just jumped straight into. Y'all, I really did not grieve the passing of my father till I want to say last month, which is crazy because he passed away in April. But for me, the way that I'm dealing with it is that I'm very spiritual. Y'all know I'm a hoodoo practitioner. Y'all know I do a lot of ancestry work. I have a whole ancestor altar in my home, aside from my other altars. And as soon as I got back here to New York after his memorial and all that stuff, I instantly put him on my ancestor table. I have his picture. I have like fruits I give him, and I light a candle for him, and I put flowers on the altar, and I just really take care of the altar, and I have a shot of rum up there for him and all those different things. So that is where the beginning of my year was. And y'all, I still powered through because that same month, I held House of Domme in New Orleans. And I think being around such dominant energy, being around women that came to that retreat that truly look up to me and love me and adore me, being around them really helped me get through everything that was going on. And there's still days where it's tough. There's still days where I wake up and, I'm just like, what the fuck? Literally, like, what the fuck? There's still times when I go through really, really hard things and I've literally reached for the phone to call my dad and I couldn't, because my dad is a very big piece of my life, right? And this all ties into today's episode, which I'm going to be talking all about, how I got into this line of work, where my life was, my home life, school life, all that stuff. But my dad ties into this because my dad has nurtured who I was since I was a little girl. Right. So a lot of you don't know that my background is extensively in fashion design, fashion marketing. I was a very famous person on Tumblr back in the day that went by Smokeahanas. I was on all the fashion blogs back then, like Fashion Bomb, Blog Daily, Black Girl Fashion, all those different fashion blogs. I was more than likely on those pages. Like I was on the Lookbook website uploading stuff. Like my whole life through high school was just fashion. I was the girl in school wearing the crazy heels. I was wearing the anti-gravity heels, the ones that Lady Gaga wore. I was wearing those before other people was wearing them. And I was wearing those in high school. I was walking to math class in anti-gravity heels, y'all. I just always knew who I was. And a part of that was my father, because my father put so much money towards a lot of that stuff. I remember on weekends, me and him would go to the Goodwill, the thrift store, because I was really into thrifting then. And I used to thrift at the Goodwill, because Goodwill, don't sleep on the Goodwill, y'all. Goodwill got some good shit. Like you go in there, you be like, damn, there's some good shit. And he used to take me on weekends and we would go in there and I would pick stuff out and he would pay for it for me. And he would like to see how I would put it together. My dad also got me one of my first cameras. He got me tripods. He did everything he could so that I could nurture that love for fashion. I was in a magazine, a local magazine in my small town in North Carolina. I was in a magazine. I had a whole fashion spread in there. It was like my senior year of high school, I believe. And I got a whole spread in there because of my father. My father knew the people at the magazine and he submitted me. He was like, look, y'all got to put my daughter in this magazine. She can dress. She's smart. She has all these different things going on. She's unique. She's different. Nobody else is doing it like her. So my dad has always nurtured who I am. Right. And my dad, I could talk conspiracy theories with my dad. My dad was a Gemini. I know that Aquarius Gemini connection is there. And I just love talking to him. Just love talking to him about all the different things. And even just my mom as well. Like my mother was also very nurturing of what I loved as fashion. And I got my love from fashion from her because growing up, my mom used to keep me and my sisters dressed. Like when I tell you dressed, like matching bows, accessories, clothing. We was going to church looking good. Do you hear me? She was not playing none of those games. So when I would go out the front door to school every day, my parents weren't never saying anything like, girl, what you got on? Change that. You're not wearing that. They be like, I wonder what they're going to say today. Oh, look at you. You look good. Oh, look at you. Whatever, So both of my parents, but more so my dad really nurtured that fashion element about me and how I felt about fashion. And my mom's an Aquarius too. So being raised by an Aquarius mother and a Gemini father, y'all, that's just a whole thing. So losing him was very hard for me. And when you lose a parent, you never know how hard it is until day by day you start to realize it little by little, right? But I think, like I said, what has helped me is the community, being around the work that I love to do, being around the women that I meet, being around all the different people in the community that I meet has truly helped me. And so has my tribe, all my friends here in New York, my best friend in Atlanta, my best friend in Asheville, all of them have been here for me, and that's really helped me a lot. So with that being said, I know y'all probably wondering, Mrs. Marley, how did you come to be a dominatrix, right? So you was doing fashion. You was this crazy fashionable person in high school. How did you come to be a dominatrix? So crazy thing is, in high school, I was just one of those girls that was just not really into messing with boys, right? I had a boyfriend my sophomore year and he was older than me, and my dad did not like me dating this boy. This boy was like 2-3 years older than me, and that was my first relationship. And I would say that's the first person I quote unquote fell in love with. I don't think it was real love because I was young, but that's who I thought I was in love with. And this boy cheated on me with an older woman that worked at the mall with him. And I just was so devastated. Like, that was my first heartbreak. And from then on, I was like, I hate men. Like, I really hate y'all. Like, y'all really, like, you had me out here thinking shit is sweet and you doing other shit. So after I broke up with him, this was like junior year, I didn't date anybody else. I didn't even interact with men. Mind you, I lost my virginity in the 9th grade. But like from 11th grade on, I didn't do anything. I didn't date men. I wasn't sexually involved with any men. I just did not care. I just wanted to get through high school so I could go to my HBCU and get out of my small town, right? So everyone knows I went to HBCU. That's where I walked the white man on the leash at North Carolina Central University. So I went to North Carolina Central University, and the fashion stuff still stood the same. I was a fashion design major. I was still dressing crazy. By this time, I had a more expensive camera because, you know, when you get that refund check back in school and you go spend your money, I went and bought a Nikon camera, right? So I said, I'm going to get me a Nikon camera. And I was all around campus taking pictures. People was calling me the fashionable girl. I was super, super skinny, y'all. I was like 95 pounds. People was like, oh, look at her. She always got something crazy on. I had people calling me weird. I had people that loved it. I just had people that lived for it. I had people that didn't understand it, but that's just life. And as a queer, you know, we don't give a fuck. We don't care. So I was around campus taking pictures, doing all this crazy stuff or whatever. And as I went through college, I realized my personality started to shape-shift a little bit. So my freshman year, I also was in a relationship. This boy I wasn't in love with, but it was a cute little relationship, right? So for majority of the school year, I was in a relationship with him, which kind of was to my detriment because I didn't hang out with my friends from high school that came to the same school as me as much. I felt like I was kind of isolated. He was a Cancer man. Will never date a Cancer man again. He messed it up for all other Cancer men, y'all. I'm sorry. But you know, I dated him or whatever. In 9th grade, I was to myself. He was also into fashion. So I was like, okay, I got my fake little ASAP Rihanna relationship going on with the fashion and stuff. Like, people knew us as the fashionable couple. And then we broke up at the end of freshman year. And in my sophomore year, I told myself, I said, you know what? I ain't going to be in a relationship with no niggas. I need to make some friends. So I was in a dorm and I met like 5 other girls and they turned me on to partying, y'all. Like, I became the party queen. Mind you, my first ever alcohol beverage was sophomore year. I was 19 years old when I had my first sip of liquor. So I was not even that girl in high school that was drinking or whatever. Also, that was the first time I smoked weed. So I was like, oh, I was on my rebellious shit. I was like, yo, I just feel like I'm on an episode of Skins. You ever seen Skins UK? Or like even just the grass, whatever. I just felt like I was just living it up. You couldn't tell me nothing, child. I was smoking my weed on my in between classes, hot boxing with my friends. I was having my little liquor before I was going to class. And yeah, that's real bad, y'all. I was just drinking before I was going to class. But that is nobody's business. Like, well, it's y'all business now because I'm telling y'all because I'm getting deeper into things. Even talking about this is crazy to me because I feel like I've been so guarded. But anyway, so my sophomore year, I found out more about my sensuality, right? So I was still dressing a little crazy, but I was putting some sexiness with it because my fashion was always something that was very androgynous. I always dressed androgynous. I always wore something tight with something baggy, masculine type clothes. It was like tomboy, feminine in a way, right? But my sophomore year, I started tapping more into my femininity. And you know what is crazy? That time, sophomore year, is when Beyonce's Self-Titled came out. And when I saw Partition, the video, all the videos that Beyonce put out for Self-Titled, it woke something up in me that made me want to be just more sensual. And I became more sensual. The clothes started getting a little tighter. You know, I was still skinny, but I was still trying to show off whatever little shape I had. And the heels started getting a little bit sexier and shorter, not as crazy clunky. I was wearing more jewelry. I started wearing more makeup. I started doing more things with my hair. I started experimenting more with more wigs and stuff because my freshman year, I had the buzz cut like with the braids on top. My hair was like cut short with the braids on top. And so I started also dating more my sophomore year. And what interested me the most when I was dating was I realized with the men I was dating, I wanted to control them, right? Not in a way of controlling them of you do this now or you do that. Like, not like that, right? Not that type of control, but more so mind control. I like to play with their heads. And I think they started to notice that too. Like, I started to notice I was getting attention from men on campus, the ones that were in my same class level, the ones that were older, like just the different men. And I just could see how I was controlling their mind, right? Because back to the Aquarius thing. Y'all know how we are. We detach really fast. If we like a nigga, we can like him. He would never even know. We're not the type to just be all in people's faces and be carrying on and doing all that, whatever. So they would never know their place with me. And something about that turned me on. Like, I got this nigga shaking on the inside. He don't know if after we go out, if I'm still going to talk to him. Right? He don't know if after I'm intimate with him, if I still want to talk to him. Right? So that's pretty much just how it was. So a beast was woken up within me. And I just became really just dominant in that sense. And as I went on through the years, it just got more and more. I just became more in tune with my body. I started to love parts of my body that when I was in high school, even a freshman, that I was a little, timid about. I started gaining more weight my junior year. By the time I was 21, I was a little bit thicker. The booty was bootying. I was like, okay, now we got something going, And it just woke something up inside of me, that femininity, that divine feminine, as we call it. And it was there in two ways. It was there very gentle and soft. And then there was also that feminine rage inside of me, because I went through some serious stuff in college, some stuff that I'm not too ready to talk about or I won't speak on the podcast. But I went through some stuff that was really life-changing for me and really changed my outlook on how to move with people. It really changed my outlook on how to become spiritual and really dig deep inside of me and stop looking for love within other people. And that woke up just so much inside of me. So fast forward, by the time I got to New York, I knew who I was as a woman. Like, I knew what type of interactions I wanted with men. I knew what type of interactions I wanted with myself. Like, I just knew that the beast inside of me was fully out, right? And that's that Marley personality. Oh, let's back that up too, because a lot of people wonder, like, was domination your first introduction to sex work? Like, being a dominatrix was my first introduction. No, it was not. So in college, my mom heard this. Well, hopefully she won't watch the podcast, but whatever. I'm 31 now. But my junior year of college, I stripped. So I worked at this strip club. It was this white strip club in the city I went to school in. And I literally went and auditioned out of boredom. Me and one of my homegirls just went. Like, she's a Sagittarius, so we just be with the shits. But she was just like, let's just go do it, whatever, right? Worst case scenario, we don't get it. We go, we have fun, we drink. We eat the strip club food, because y'all know strip clubs got really good food. And I remember I went to the strip club and I was not terrified. Like, when they told me, like, oh, okay, so if you want to dance here, you pretty much have to audition. But we went on like a Tuesday, so it was kind of empty in there. There was a few men in there and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to kill this. Like, I dance for myself in my mirror all the time. Like, I've danced for my niggas before that I dated. Like, that's whatever. We going to do this. We about to kill this. So right before I go on stage, and my perception of the strip club was the Players Club, right? So I watched the Players Club. I was like, I'm about to come here. I might be fighting bitches. Like, let me get myself together just in case a bitch try to, snook me or something like that while we in the dressing room. I'm in there like, you know what? I learned you ain't supposed to make friends. So let me mind my business in here. Like, I'm getting dressed. I'm looking straight ahead in the mirror. I ain't looking at nobody. Like, you hear people fussing, arguing. Like, that part is true. They do be fussing down in the strip club. So right before I went on stage, the guy was like, what's your name? Like, we have to introduce you with something. Like, what's your name? And I'm like, shit, like, what's my name? Like, okay, does it need to be something really unique or like something crazy? But my mind was frozen. I'm like, why the fuck would he wait and ask me this right before they about to put me on stage? Like, you had the whole time to ask me this while I was in the dressing room, whatever. So I said, Marley, just call me Marley. And that's literally the origin story of where Marley came from, y'all. And whenever I tell this story, I try to tell people, like, it's nothing crazy. Like, people always think my name just came from something crazy or whatever. No, it literally just came out of just, like, yelling something out. So I was a stripper for a little bit, but I did not like the strip club because I didn't like feeling like I wasn't in control, in the sense of, like, I didn't like the men being able to touch me in certain places, or I just didn't like the feeling of stripping down in front of them. Like, stranger men, don't get me wrong. Like, if it's a nigga I like, I strip down right now. Like, y'all lucky that this podcast got to be PG-13 rated R, because I'll make it real TVMA right now. But, and this is for those that are watching on YouTube or whatever. So I just didn't like the strip club environment either. I didn't like feeling like I was in there all day. And then if it was a slow day, I basically was out of money because I had to pay the house fee. Like, I just wasn't fucking with it, really. So I didn't strip anymore after that. I moved to New York City for grad school, went to grad school. And while in grad school, I started working at a swingers club. as a hostess. And I found that job on Craigslist. Yeah, Craigslist, y'all. Craigslist used to be popping. And when I think about it, I'm like, I never knew there was an actual hostess position at the Swingers Club. Like that was weird to me. I was like, what is this really? But I was ready to go in there. One thing about Marley, my intuition, how I feel about things, when I go in a place and I'm not sure about it, I go in ready to fight. So I'm already prepared, like, okay, sis, you might got to fight your way out of this, but be ready for it, right? So I went and I got the job like within like 5 minutes of my interview, which was also very sketchy. I was like, all right, what they trying to do? So my first day, basically my job was just to serve champagne to the couples in there that were like, having sex or whatnot. And it was a not strip club. Oh, it was like a swingers club where it was white people, and it was older white people, y'all, like the most wrinkly bodies y'all can imagine in there. Oh, it was so nasty. It was so nasty. But it made me realize that the swinger lifestyle was kind of like a secret society, because in North Carolina, I didn't know about this. I'm pretty sure they have it, but I didn't know about it. Me coming to New York opened me up to so many different things. So anyway, my first day working as a hostess at the Swingers Club, I was just looking around at the place and the people that were there. And yeah, they were wrinkly bodies and it was nasty. And, I was served champagne and runaway child because I didn't want to see that. But it also showed me how many people were comfortable with exploring their sexuality in front of other people. And I'd never seen anything like that. Like, I had heard of voyeurism before, but to actually see it up close and personal. And I was like, what would this look like with attractive young Black people? When I say young, like between ages 23 and like 30, right? I was like, what would this look like for that? And at the time, I'm in New York. I'm pretty sure there was tons of parties then. But in my Aquarius mind, because y'all know we love to think we the first of doing things, and sometimes we are, I was like, you know what? I ain't seen that yet. Mind you, I'm saying this, and I ain't never seen nothing. So how can I say I ain't seen something yet when I didn't even know about the shit that was existing anyway? So I was like, you know what? I'm about to start throwing parties. Now, did I know how I was going to throw those parties? Hell no. But I knew I wanted to throw parties. So I started off in an Airbnb. My first party was in an Airbnb. And while all of this is happening, I'm still hustling in New York, right? So I'm working in corporate fashion, right, on contracts. The host is still at the Swingers Club. I'm taking little bottle girl jobs at the strip club, because I did go back to the strip club in New York, but as a bottle girl, right? I did bottle service. I was a cocktail waitress. I'm doing little stuff like that. I'm hustling. I'm moving around. And then I'm also diving deeper into financial domination. And I talked about this on my Twitter, that financial domination for me, I found that from an incident. I found I had broke my ankle, right? And was on bed rest, couldn't work because my job was physical. And I looked up financial domination and it took me into a whole world. So when I think about how I came into sex work, right, whether it was through survival or through just me being curious about it, it was a little bit of both. The survival came in when I moved to New York and knew, like, look, bitch, you're not moving back to North Carolina. I don't care what you got going on. I don't care what happens. I don't care if whatever, you're not going back to North Carolina. We're not going back there after experiencing amazing New York City. So it was some survival in there of, okay, I need to make some money because New York is expensive. And by this time, I wasn't living in the dorms anymore for grad school. So I had to pay my own rent. Like, I had to really be out here hustling and living. I was living in an apartment, y'all, with like 5 other roommates. I've lived in an apartment before that had rats. Like, we gonna keep it a stack, right? So season 2 is all about keeping it real, keeping it personal. I was selling weed on the Grand Concourse. Okay? All right? I was talking to a nigga that stayed in the Bronx on the Grand Concourse, and I was selling some of the weed. You know, that for me, that was a 2-week job, and I was out of there because I could not take people hitting my phone up late at night, ask for weed. It was terrifying. But I was doing all these things to survive here in New York because I refuse to quit. I'm never a quitter. I don't want to be that person that's like, okay, I had to move back home. I had to live back home. I didn't make it. I didn't do it. I just had to fucking survive. And also the curiosity part comes in because I stumbled upon financial domination because of my curiosity. Because I was bedridden from that broken ankle and wanted to, you know, see what else was out there to make money where I didn't have to physically be there. And from there, financial domination just took off. Like, it just completely took off. Like, you could not tell me back then that I would be where I'm at now. But also, it was kind of destiny for me, right? I was dabbling in law of attraction a little bit, manifestation, and a lot of spiritual stuff to bring abundance through. But look at where I am now, you know? And that's what's so crazy to me is that little old me from North Carolina, right, came up to New York and made motherfucking noise. Like noise. All off of being who I am. And when I say I made noise, y'all, I made noise. How many people can honestly say, and this is me being cocky, because, you know, sometimes you gotta, y'all know what's up, right? How many people do you know can move to New York and say that they had a cover story for the New York Times? How many people that actually live in New York and are from New York can say that? Not a lot. It's a small percentage. Then I went on to be in the Brooklyn magazine. Then I went on to be in Playboy and Playboy Africa as a dominatrix. So a lot of things that I've done in life and where I am now really just came from me taking a chance on myself, not saying no, living my wildest dreams. Like, y'all, I really don't take no for an answer. Like, no does not exist in my reality nowhere. Like, I don't even know what that word no is. Like, if somebody tells me no, I ignore them. Like, I'm ignoring a 3D. No, that doesn't exist. And I'm going to make it happen for myself. So sex work for me came in that manner. And, you know, I know there's a lot of people in sex work, people that I've mentored, people that I've met, people that I've talked to personally, people that I've seen their interviews online that say, you know, their home life was such chaos and there was so much destruction there and there were so many crazy reasons or insane reasons or certain reasons why they had to turn to sex work. And, you know, a lot of people in sex work can't even talk about stuff like this with their family. Some sex workers are even disowned by their family. But for me, it's different. For me, my parents know what I do. My parents have, it's so weird saying that. My parents have my Playboy magazine that I was in. My dad has my New York Times article. My dad has stuff framed. My dad has bragged on me before to people he knows. But also I want y'all to know that it wasn't always, okay, we know what you do and we love it right off the bat, right? They had their concerns. Their biggest concern was about my safety. And my parents found out I was a sex worker, a dominatrix, the same way a lot of people on the internet found out. That damn video from me walking that white man on a leash at homecoming, y'all. And how it got found out was that my mother saw the video come across her Facebook timeline. And she called me. She was like, what is this? And, you know, I never thought that my parents could find it on the Facebook timeline, right? And I just had to explain to them what it was. And I talked to them about how, you know, I threw in the educational element. Because, you know, I was like, yeah, well, you know, I do control men. And you know, it's mostly white men. And I'm not sexual with them. And I don't do anything sexual with them. And I slap them and they pay me to control them. And you see, I haven't had to ask y'all for no money lately for my phone bill or nothing. Like little stuff like that. And I was like, I also teach the education portion. So me highlighting the education portion to them about kink and BDSM is what really, I think, did it for them. Like I said, Aquarius, Gemini, they kind of had an open mind about it, but they were just very concerned about my safety. They definitely didn't think that was going to be my normal path. My dad was like, you know, what happened to the fashion stuff? Like, you were really into the fashion stuff. What happened to that? And I was like, you know, I'm still into the fashion stuff. I still love fashion. And the good thing is when I went on to start my lingerie line, my dad invested in that. He bought so many things for me, from materials to print, when shipping, all these different things. Like, my dad invested in that, like helped me with my business cards and all that. But I was like, it's still there. And I'm using the money I have and that I make from being a dominatrix to input into that. So my home life, I had a great upbringing. And that's not me to brag on my upbringing and try to shit on somebody else's, because I know a lot of people, you know, deal with things in life. We all are not dealt the same cards, right? But I had a great upbringing. I come from a house with 6 siblings. Both of my parents were married. My parents just celebrated, I believe, their 36th anniversary on November 4th. You know, that was a big moment too as well, just celebrating that without my dad. But, my upbringing was great. I was nurtured. My interests were nurtured. My parents paid attention to me. They liked what I was into. Yeah, I still had middle child Aquarius syndrome, but I had a great upbringing. And I think me having a great upbringing is why I'm able to do domination the way I do it. It's the way that I do it with love. And when I say I do it with love, I don't mean I'm in here being nice to the subs and the sessions and, oh, I love you and stuff. I can do it through love, through the women that I mentor, through the women I talk through the women I bring into this lifestyle, to the women that, join this lifestyle because of me, through the safety I show them, to how to look out for themselves and to make sure they're safe and they're supported. And that all comes from my upbringing, the empathy. I grew up with a lot of empathy and how to really just deal with people and their emotions. So yeah, that's like the origin story of Mistress Marley. Someone that really just took a chance on herself. Someone that really just came and was like, you know what? I'm going to kill it with this domination shit. Let's get it. I'm going to do it. All right. We about to go all in. Because one thing about me, I don't half step with nothing. So when I knew I want to be a dominatrix, I wasn't going to be like, oh, let me just get online and type like, send me money loser every 5 minutes or so and hope someone sends me money. I was like, no, I'm going all in. I want to be the top of the top, right? I want to be the best dom that there is. I want to be light years ahead of people. I want to be doing shit that nobody else is doing. I'm going to create platforms that nobody else has, right? And I feel like I've done it. And I've had my mentors. I have people that I look up to. And I've shouted these people out before on social media. But I knew at the end of the day, I wanted to make a name for myself. I wanted Mistress Marley to be a household name in this industry, especially as a black woman. So when you hear Mistress Marley, you already know what's up. You already know what's good. And that is the whole origin story of Mistress Marley. And I'm so excited for this season 2 of Dominant City because I really want y'all to just know the parts of me that you don't know, right? Everybody always sees the businesswoman, the professional, the kicking the subs and the balls. And like I said, we still gonna have fun on here and we still gonna do our thing on here, but we gonna get into the thick of it too. We really gonna get deep into it. We gonna get into the thick of it, y'all. And with that being said, we gonna bring it back a little bit to the Dom sub stuff. And we're going to read sub mail. Y'all know I always do sub mail, right? Woo, sub mail, submissive mail. I like to do that every time. So we're going to read a message from a submissive male. All right. So let's get into it. Let's get into this message that a submissive man sent me. All right. And I've posted this before on my Instagram, but we're going to dig deeper into it. So this one says, Dear Mistress Marley, I hope this message finds you in power and pleasure. I am writing to humbly introduce myself as a submissive man from Los Angeles who has long admired your presence, your dominance, and the empire you've built. There go that word, empire. Your aura commands respect, and I feel honored just to have the chance to reach out. I want nothing more than to serve you in the way you deserve with full devotion, obedience, and admiration. To demonstrate my sincerity and commitment, I would like to send a large tribute directly to you to avoid fees from your clip sites if you are comfortable with that. And he did, y'all. He sent like $3,500 on Zelle. Y'all know I like the whale subs. This offering is not out of obligation, but out of deep reverence for who you are and the lifestyle you embody. Serving you financially is not a burden, but a privilege. Please allow me to continue proving my worth. I crave to be molded by your authority, guided by your expectations, and reminded daily of my place beneath you. Knowing that even a small portion of my earnings contributes to your pleasure fills me with purpose. Thank you, Mistress Marley, for granting me the honor of serving you in this way. I await your command, and I hope to serve you on my next visit to New York, or I can fly you out here with deepest devotion. Then he signed his name. That is how you motherfucking do it. So to all you subs that are always in my inbox saying, hey, 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 like you a horse waiting for some damn hay, that is how you do it. That is how you write me and you send the tribute. And I feel like subs that do that they respect women. They respect my time, especially as a sex worker. They just respect who I am, y'all. And that is how you do it. And with that being said, I will see y'all next time on Domme in the City. Be sure to subscribe to Domme in the City podcast. Follow me on Instagram, Domme in the City podcast. I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. I am up there because, y'all, this season is going to be 10s across the board. Mwah.